So, Dini, I asked you the question of where to put stuff, and you were telling me about mind mapping and annotation. Could you repeat that, please?
So, for example, when I was teaching advanced composition, I had my students do a unit on expert systems, AI, and artificial life, which are three different topics. But they have a lot of connecting units, right? And I wanted them to find that themselves without me telling them. So they read these articles and then they synthesized the material, right, into those three categories. They didn't know that there were three different categories. They had to figure that out. So the mind mapping helped them understand that these two articles dealt with expert systems and these three dealt with artificial life and the rest were about AI. Then they were expected to mind map all of them together in the three categories and find similarities among the article, around among the 9 to 10 articles, to be able to write a paper about the connections of these three things, right? These three topics. And so the mind mapping is part of the writing process, it's part of the thinking process. More importantly, is synthesis, which is a really, one of the highest levels of thinking in the cognitive um, stages that we teach in academics, right? The one above that is evaluation. You cannot possibly evaluate until you've synthesized. So it's a
Perfect.
high level of cognitive activity, and teaching that is important, and mind mapping is essential to it.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree, and that's why I'm spending so much time on the map in Author, because I think we can do something much more exciting in XR when we get to it. So,
Yeah, and as I was telling you, yeah, as I was telling you, when I do my own material, my own stuff, I have annotated bibliography, annotated notes, I call them, because I do some pretty detailed notes that I can copy and paste from, which has page numbers and citations. And I copy them and paste them in a document on another computer nearby. And Apple lets me copy and paste across different systems. And but I also want, besides just that, I also map things out myself. So the annotation, as well as the mapping, helps to make sense of things like writing a grant, writing an article. Right? This weekend, I'm writing an abstract for an article that's for a journal, right? So I've got to go through these processes and figure that out. But I've got to collect the information, then I annotate it, and then I write about it. I document the idea.
yeah, that's really powerful and useful. And of course, with these digital objects, we hope that you don't need to write page numbers anymore. It'll automatically know the page based on where you took it from. And then we can
Yeah, and
start
the
doing.
Yeah, and I think that's good, but I also think it's important. I mean, it got to the point when I write a book, when I just like the last book, I didn't have to look, the books were piled around me on the floor, but I didn't have to pick them up and look at them because I knew automatically what the page number is. I can cite you page numbers in my head, right from my head, from my memory. And there's something valuable about that. So I don't rely on the technology to do that for me. I rely still on my brain. And I like that. I don't think I want to let that piece go. There are things I want to offload to the computer and to systems. Um, Certainly I don't want to use a ruler to make lines. I don't want to do that anymore. But the thinking process, there's a lot of it I still want to hold in my own head.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons you and I are so close intellectually. We want to augment how we think and not offload to some AI. So absolutely.
But
Um,
I want to offload processes that help me be able to think more.
yeah, I used to refer to that as clerical work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I've really learned from this conversation is um, in my particular world, the map should show the source and then you interact with it to see more info. But that more info doesn't necessarily need to be your annotation for your bibliography. That is key to see in your linear view.
Yes.
Yeah. So, right, that is really, really important. That's helped me a lot. So, what we probably need to do, and this is in the community, is find a way to select text and mark it as this is an annotation for this. So that as we go into XR, everything you've done in your various environments, it is there for you to do the mind mapping, put it together. Yeah, we should probably, we can probably do that kind of thing. But all right, well, that was excellent. Thank you very much. So on Monday, Fabian will do a little bit of a demo, and then we're going to have just a silly session on purpose. And then maybe next week we do a more specific
You want
Fabian.
me to do the talk about the work we're doing in the next? We've gotten a lot of progress done on the visualization space, and I'm talking about it at the TEDx talk. So I'd like to be able to present that to you folks first, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. That's important. Yeah, okay. When we have the time, let's organize the schedule for a few more sessions and do absolutely that. I look forward to that. The fact that the next and Sloan addresses such different areas is so amazing because then we can look at how they relate rather than, overlap. So it's just wonderful.
All right.
See you
See ya.
soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.